Today on What Went Wrong, the people you never notice, but are the essential parts of the film. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made over 40 feature films, and I've worked with a heck of a lot of actors. And some of the actors have just been walk-on parts. You always just need the guy to walk on set and get shot in the head and fall down. Or just some people in the bars. And it's as an independent filmmaker, it's usually very difficult to say, anytime you have a bar scene in a film, trying to fill up the bar and make it look full and natural is a pretty tough thing to do. I believe the first time I've worked with the two of you were as small roles, but I think it was Blow a Kiss.
Blow a Kiss.
We are joined today by Mike and Liz McCullough. Who have been in 3 or 4 of my films now. It was Blow a Kiss, and then I know you were in Red Days. You were the porch zombie.
I think it was 5.
Serial Rabbit 5.
Oh, honey, look, a bum.
With the accent I can't forget. I love the Yankees.
And then, let's see, so there's Blow a Kiss, Serial Rabbit,
Red Days.
Lady Lawman,
and Tag.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now let's see, so your first kind of like speaking role was with Red Days, and then yours was Lady Lawman?
No, I had
Serial Rabbit 5 came first.
Right,
Yes,
right.
The couple that talked to Coach, which was a
couple of lines in Red Days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
With Charles.
I forgot about that. Yes, we miss him dearly. He was a great actor
guy,
and great person all around. Today we're going to talk about being an extra and extra casting and kind of what goes into that. Not a lot of things really, shows and whatnot revolve around that. But it's such an essential part to a film. I mean, it would look like a zombie apocalypse without extras because you just have nobody there.
You'd have no zombies.
You'd have no zombies. Yes. So tell us a little. Before we started, you were telling me a little about your recent zombie extra experience.
Oh yeah, it was an extra couple of episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. The Lair, we don't know how they're going to edit it. Of course, you never know till it airs. But it was fun. It was an experience. I'd do it again.
For someone who's just kind of starting out in acting, that's kind of where you cut your teeth. They're definitely paying roles. They may not be great paying roles, but they sometimes at least help pay for gas and whatnot.
Well, when you start out, when you be an extra, it's a really good place to start because then you learn your way around a set. You learn everybody's roles. You can just sit and watch and see, how actors and crews interact, and just learn what it's really all about.
It's kind of like a film class without having to pay.
So it's a great educational experience.
Yes, it is.
What are some of the things that you've come away with on as being an actor, being an extra?
Well, I was an extra about 6 years ago in The Leftovers. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That was a big learning experience for me too because we were just getting into it, getting into film, and I learned because they managed so many extras. There were like hundreds of us. I kind of watched, observed, and thought, we learned what to do, but also what not to do. And so I always thought like, I consider it extra wrangling, I guess, is the part that happens on set, and so there's special people that handle that. And so I guess that's what got me into the extras casting was because a lot of those people we connected with and we wanted to get back together with, and then when somebody, a lower budget wanted to do something, we could do all this for free, and wanted to do it in a good, friendly way, where everybody was happy to be there, even though they weren't getting paid. But, we had doctors, lawyers, school superintendents and things, people that do the free extra work for the lower budget films are there because they want to be. It's fun. It's something they want to do on the weekends. They're retired or they're just, really excited to see what it's all about.
Or they want their kids to be a star, so they bring their kids.
I've experienced a little bit of that, yes. And the
Yeah.
kid, so half the time the kid doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
So what are you mentioned something that you learn a lot on the set? What are some of the things that you have learned in particular?
The basics that you probably don't even think about now, like go to your one, and then go back to your one, and just all the things that like cues and
And describe what that is, going to one and what the one
your
mark
starting
is.
point. Yeah, and I wouldn't have known that 6 years ago. So your one is your starting point, and then your two is where you wind up, and so they show you, where you start, where you wind up, and how you get there, and you may do that all day long, and it's long, tedious. It is hard work. It doesn't look like it when you're watching a movie.
Sometimes being an extra is harder than being an actor with a role, because when you're an actor with a speaking part, you can do it a little different every time. But when you're an extra, you have to do everything exactly the same every time for continuity. Even if the main actors change it up a little bit, you're still got to be the same,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do your thing. We literally ran uphill all day long in 100-degree weather under the hot sun, but it was fun. I would do it again in a day. It was the scene in The Leftovers at the end when you run the crowd. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but the crowd all does one thing at one time. But it is up a ramp and over a bridge. So, and you're running, and it's not, the ground's not even, and we lost 25 people to the heat that day. They carted them off.
Oh, wow.
But there was like 400 of us, so it can be hard work, even for the actors, because they were running with us. We had some big names that were running with us. It was.
So what are some
lot
of
of
the
work.
differences between a big Hollywood film and, say, an independent film being an extra?
Big differences. I couldn't believe how each person had a job. Like, one thing that sticks in my mind was you had to have a certain person to move that cable. Somebody else came and sprayed you with sunscreen.
Water, whatever.
The individual jobs, like everybody had a job to do something. So, whereas with the independent films, you do everything. You do everything.
I had an agent, I was on The Night Watchman. James House, who was one of the actors, helped us. We were packing up. It was the end of the shoot. We were packing up at the end of the day, and he's, "Hey, can I help you with that box?" Picked up a box and put it in the truck for us. "Hey, thanks, no problem." I got a call from the agent the next day. "You do not do that. He is an actor. He doesn't." I'm like, "Goodbye."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I
They
don't
don't
know who you
even-
think you are.
Yeah,
They
that-
don't even like you talking to the actors.
That's the main difference. A big Hollywood production or a big budget TV show or something, they have your wardrobe department, they cater, they have, like she said,
Hair,
everybody
makeup.
has a certain job. Hair, makeup. When you do independent films, you have to do it all yourself, pretty much. You don't have the resources to. Most of the time. Sometimes you have a makeup person or a wardrobe person, but most of the time you're on your own, and you have to think of all those things. Whereas a big union Hollywood production, they got it all covered already.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on an independent film, if you are interested in being an actor and having a little bit more screen time, an independent film is a good place to start, because you have more of a chance of being kind of pulled up the ranks and saying, that person was really cool, they were really helpful, let's put them in a bigger role. And that's sort of where Serial Rabbit 5 and all my Serial Rabbits kind of come from, is I get to work with, on projects like The Innocent Saga or A Tag Conspiracy. I'll have extras that it's the first time that I've worked with, and I'm like, and I'll be like, "Hey, wow, they were really cool to work with. I want to give them another chance." And then we'll do a Serial Rabbit, so we give them a bigger role, and have something else, to springboard them towards.
That's cool.
So that's that's definitely from your experience, would you say that gives you a little bit of a chance to move up in the
Exactly, yeah.
Get
And we appreciate
material
that.
for
you
your
doing that for
reel
us.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it is great. Yeah, we appreciate it.
And one thing just kind of leads to another, and then you meet more and more people and stay busy.
Well, I want to get inside y'all's head because our films can be kind of weird from time to time. And the first time you showed up on set would have been Blow a Kiss, right?
Right.
What went through your mind as you
Yeah.
because that is one of the weirdest,
Honestly.
most bizarre scees we've ever shot.
Honestly, I'm so glad Mike was with me because I walked into that apartment and I'm like, is this for real? And there's a guy really drinking over here, and
That would be earnest.
yes. Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking, but we soon got to know, y'all were all like family, and it was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an experience.
Well,
Yeah.
that snowballed to be a lot weirder than it was originally intended to be, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting story behind it because I mean it was supposed to be a much different location, and we just couldn't find a location because there was supposed to be a freestanding tub, and this whole thing because it was the summary, everything that happens at that party is actually a summary of what's happened in the movie so far because Dane's character is hallucinating after I think you were the one that blew the drug in her face, and she's summarizing it all up. And if you look at it from the perspective that the rabbit is actually her, she's doing all the things that happen throughout the movie. So it's supposed to be very surreal and very crazy. But we were shooting during the day, so we couldn't do a lot of funky lighting and whatnot. So it was even supposed to be a little bit even more weird. But I think because it was so normal, it was like a normal, regular, bland, boring apartment with all this weirdness happening around it, I think that's what made it even more bizarre.
It was pretty cool.
I know we had you having masks on and then getting shot in the head. We had the rabbit strangling people.
I think we were shot several times. Yeah. Oh, no, you were strangled, weren't you?
Yeah. And then I got shot.
So thank you for sticking with us and not running screaming down the hallway.
It was fun.
Weird is good.
Yeah, that can be difficult on an independent film sometimes, and especially when you're not well known and not famous or whatnot, and you can step into an organization, a situation like that, because that is something that, at least in my mind, I know there's a lot of directors like I don't care what the actors think. I just got to get my stuff done. That is something that rolls around in my head, is that that image and that perspective of the extras, and I do want them to be as comfortable as possible. So
Well, we definitely notice. We've been around, and it's a pleasure working for you. Some people let it go to their head, and like the guy that called us flesh props.
Now, admittedly, I will joke and say moving props from time to time. But in a recent episode, I was talking about that I joke about that, but I still have a complete and utter respect.
Yeah.
For the people, because it only takes one time to be trying to do that bar or restaurant scene, having nobody show up.
Right.
Because especially in the independent film world, you usually have the 10% ratio. You're like, okay, we need 100 people. 100 people said they're going to come. Expect 10.
Oh yeah, she does.
I usually get
extras casting.
I usually get a pretty good percentage of my people to go. But that is a whole different job though. Like I'm contacting constantly and keeping them informed, and I'm the person between, I guess, you and the extras, and so I try to make it fun. I think the funnest job was when we did Arthur Brown's music video, and so I would say who knows who this is. We do like trivia and stuff like that just to keep them interested in everything and playing a game, and we're going to do something special when we get there too. And so that was like, we had 100% show up, and that's probably the only time we had 100% show up.
Yeah,
but
at first it's
it was
like,
great.
oh, Arthur Brown, who's this Arthur Brown guy? Oh, well, him and Hendrix had a band together, and Jimi Hendrix, and, all. And then you explain it to him, like, oh, that Arthur Brown.
And by the time we got there, it was like a party because we had been playing together, through social media and emails and stuff. The biggest one I ever did was 369 people. Free.
That's impressive.
Overnight. No pay.
In downtown Kingsville.
Closed the whole downtown Kingsville.
On a director's first scene he ever shot.
Wow. Well, I can tell you that you helped save Lady Lawman with the town scene. and being able to have was it Lady Lawman? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Lady Lawman.
Out
All
the ghost town.
Right.
The ghost town, because it's and it's especially helpful when someone like you can step and do a little bit of your own wrangling, because when it's basically just me, and Joey will help out a little bit, but mostly it's just me running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to handle everything. And I remember you had some of the actors brought a potluck, and they brought food and everything. We were trying to we were prepared to bring our own, but you were like, no, we're going to bring this and that.
Yeah, if you ever do a
helped out so
Western,
much.
the Western film family is really just, they're awesome. And they all bring wardrobe and help each other.
I was going to say, because that's another thing is, we can have, we've got kind of wardrobe, but it's not great wardrobe. It'll fit for the person who's walking in the background. Yeah. But when you bring, you have extras that bring their own and love this, and it's almost a role playing experience for them.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
It helps out so much. So for as an independent filmmaker, for other people who are trying to, especially do a Western or a period piece or any real, any real crowd scene, somebody like you can be incredibly helpful, and is a necessity, because especially when you're one person, you just can't do it all by yourself, and you need somebody's help like that. And it's
just to take that pressure off, because that's a
very... especially when you do a Western, because Westerns, especially people who watch Westerns, are very discerning audience, man, and they will crucify any small detail.
Those are the majority of our Lady Lawman comments. And it drives me nuts, because even Joey was like, because in your scene when you're meeting Buck, somebody said, "Oh, it looks like they just got the bowls. They're like the bowls are brand new."
Yeah.
And even Joey was like, "Well, in the Old West, they didn't buy them used. They bought them new. They were new at some point."
We were just talking about that. Even the lumber, that whole period's only about 25 years, so everything is, the oldest it can be is 25 years.
The ones that drive me the most crazy are like old English movies where they're in some deep, dark, dank castle, man. But if you look at paintings from back then, they're all wearing bright, feathered, gold, gilded,
they want
bright
to be
costumes and stuff. And I'm pretty
colorful,
sure their castles were the same way. They weren't all
Yeah.
just foggy, dank, bring out your dead stuff.
So we think about those things.
Yeah. That's one of the hard things of wardrobe, man, is research. You got to spend a lot of time researching so you get as correct as you can be. Obviously, in an independent movie, you don't have the budget to be perfect. You just don't.
Yeah.
So you just try to be believable.
Yeah, and when someone will come after like Lady Lawman for the shirts being too white, they're not dirty enough, or this or that, but yet something like Braveheart, which is completely historically inaccurate, gets the pass. Somebody will just say, "Oh, well, it's not very historically accurate," but it's like, well, what about us? We had a great movie, but you're gonna bitch and moan about the white shirts.
They're just going to, and that what part of our family of Western film extras is the reenactors, and they will get it right, but
they'll also nitpick every detail.
Yeah, because we'll provide wardrobe, but we're going to Goodwill and we're going to get something that looks good enough. We're not doing it.
That's what I found. If you try to be perfect to every detail in an independent movie, you're going to fail. You're going to drive yourself crazy. So just be believable.
Yeah, you got to do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah.
And that's that can be that's, like you said, especially with a low budget. But if you're doing your job as a filmmaker, making it entertaining, you don't notice that stuff.
Yeah, and people don't notice that stuff. The people that are criticizing are just probably the reenactors.
I got a light, two lights in this hand, a microphone in this hand, trying to balance the camera, running from one location to another, and an extra will come up and say, hey, I got a new dog the other day. It's like, can we talk about this later? So how does a director or somebody be polite yet tell them, I'm sorry, I gotta go, I'm busy here, but they want to have a conversation?
And just tell them that, like, hey, let's talk about it later, because a lot of times these people have never been on set before. A lot of times we're getting people that, because that's the thing, once they start doing these things, they kind of move up and out, and that's what you want them to do. They'll get paying gigs or whatever. But a lot of times this is their first time on set, and they don't really realize what's going on, or the time crunch or anything like that.
And that's why so many of the bigger productions have a quiet, secluded holding room. It's not because they hate him and want to keep him in the dark, but like you said, they don't have time for him to run up and, hey, asking questions. Like, you know what, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Please stay in the holding area.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll hear stories of extras who are on set, and then they'll say, I think somebody was on The Ref or something up in Austin, and Mike Judge was directing, and they had people around him to protect, from extras just walking up and saying, hey, what do I do this? And the extras would say, well, he's so arrogant, he's so, he's, so rude, he just didn't want to talk to us. It's like, well, it's not that, he just doesn't have time.
It's just set etiquette, and that's one thing you learn as an extra, set etiquette.
Yeah.
Maybe your first 1 or 2 times you don't know what's expected of you, what you're supposed to do, that you're not supposed to walk up and go, can I have your autograph? That's a no-no. That's one of the things you learn.
And I try to head those things off at the pass in my emails, letting them know what's coming up. We talk about different things, and always this happens. So I'll send out an email. They'll have all the things that the filmmaker wants me to tell them, right? And they will ask me these questions. I'll get 100 emails. This is the kind of thing that I try to be like the buffer between the filmmaker and the extras. It's like, well, that question was answered in the email.
I know exactly what you mean.
Well, if you would have read your email, but you don't say that, But
I'll get that in emails and text. Text something or email something, and the next question was answered in the email. It's like, it was right there.
But so I'm repeating myself over and over and over. But I do try to get that in the emails, out to them if they'll read it. Leave them alone, leave the filmmakers alone, let them do their job.
What is your advice for somebody who wants to start? Who's, if they're just sitting watching YouTube and watch this, and they have no idea how to get started in this, what do they do?
Wherever you are, anywhere in the world, there's going to be groups like on social media where film groups. Just get into one of those groups and ask a question. Does anybody need extras for anything? And kind of go from there, and then you can make contacts. And once you start, people are looking for extras all the time.
And once you get on set, follow directions. Because be on time, number one. Be on time, follow directions.
Yeah.
What are some of the best times that you've had on a set? They're not necessarily in a particular movie, but a moment that you've really enjoyed. Something that can, a reason. Why do why be an extra? I guess that's a good question. It is
just so much fun. And I was going to say the most fun we had was, I think, that being that couple in San Antonio on Cyril Rabbit.
We'll act for food. What do you suppose that means?
I think it means that you give him some food, he'll act for it.
That was hilarious. It turned into a good moment. Some of that stuff was just ad lib, like the hat and the gum and whatever. But it was just, honestly, and working for you is such a pleasure, because you get in, get it done, and go. There's no nonsense. It's like, wow. So I would say that's the most fun. But the most fun as an extra, even though it was a lot of work and, we had a grumpy person handling us, I think that being in that group in The Leftovers was probably, because it continued on the next season. We got to be those people again, and we had a lot of fun.
They cut it all, but it was still fun.
They didn't cut it all, but anyway. So just being in this group, and that's kind of what I like to do. I call it like a party. Like a reunion, or like we're going to a party. Same kind of thing. If you want 100 people to come to your party, you better invite 200, right? And then, just keep them entertained, and when they get there, they'll have a good time.
Well, thank you for being on our sets and helping out, and I can't express enough to people like you, as well as the audience, how important the smaller roles, the extra roles are, because you guys make the film what it is, and I can't iterate that enough.
You got to keep it real. You're going to be a blurry blob in the background. I mean, that's just what it is. So you're not going to be a star, but, you know, who knows what could happen there.
Well, just know that people like me, directors like me, do respect you guys and what you do. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
pleasure working for you.